afternoon. Look, I know I have my lip pierced and holes in my ears, but it's only because I enjoy the prospect of regret. So, I've got that to look forward to. So I'm over from Ireland, the safe one. I'm from a town near enough the border with the north, a place called Calvin. I live in Dublin though, I don't go home all that often. I was home at Christmas and I was home at Halloween. I was going home at Halloween and on the bus beside me there was a girl on the phone to her friend. She says to her friend, "I want to dress up as a sexy taxi driver." I find that quite strange because I didn't think racists could be sexy. A lot of taxi drivers in. I was out then at Christmas and a guy came over to me with the intent of insulting me. He walks over to me and says, "Hey you, I bet you like books." I come from a town, guys, where literacy is used as a topic of ridicule. And God forbid they find out I can count. I was in New York for a few months though last year, which compared to rural Ireland was fine. I was initially I was a little anxious about going over to America because of the infamous attitude towards immigrants, but then I remembered I'm white, so I knew I'd be fine. I did, however, have one experience of xenophobia. I said this to a friend of mine, and before explaining to him that xenophobia is the hatred of foreigners, he thought I developed a sudden fear of warrior princesses. It's a joke there with the late 90s Lucy Lawless vehicle, Xena the warrior princess. But I had to get a job over there. I've never been able to get a job at home. I find the interview process to be terribly unfair. Like, it's ridiculous how some employers will overlook a skill, like being able to cry yourself to sleep without waking your girlfriend who's in bed next to you, in favour of something like filing experience. It's bullshit. I did, in New York though, it's strange. All you need to get a job is a smile and an Irish accent. Admittedly, two things I'm not great at. But I did get a job. I was one of those annoying clipboard charity mugger dudes. I know, but the only reason I got the job was because they already had an Irish guy on staff and they wanted to see if we knew each other. And we did. Yeah, it was awkward. We had to learn off this pitch that we said to everyone would stop, but the pitch was called the rap. Now, I thought calling it the rap was incredibly deceiving, considering it contained almost none of the basic hip-hop elements. I guess you could count the paragraph on Blood Diamond Mines as bling, but there's probably some ethical questions there. I could never remember this though, so my supervisors were cool, and they encouraged me to write my own, so long as it was sort of personal yet relevant. So what I'd say to people would be, now one of the areas that sponsors money goes towards is providing medical treatment for children with birth defects and other mutations. It's sort of like the X-Men. Except instead of being able to shoot lasers from their eyes, they have no legs. So I got fired after 5 days. Isn't a joke. I was sort of happy I got fired though. The pressure was too much. Every morning they'd set us goals, but rather than say, "David, I want you to sign 3 people up by this evening," they'd say, "David, I want you to save 3 lives by this evening." And I'm sure you can imagine the amount of pressure involved when the unit of measurement for success is the life of a child. So getting fired wasn't the worst thing, because I worked it out. Every 5 seconds a child dies from malaria. So after 5 days of being bad at my job, I've killed 86,000 children. So I was thinking that with a record like that, I'm just going to move into a shitty Bond villainous volcano lair and change my name to Dr. Von Murderpants. Some of you noticed something there, and that is that joke isn't finished. So, good job. I am taking solace in the fact, though, that some great men like Beethoven and Tchaikovsky have unfinished symphonies. So I guess that could be mine. Maybe, who knows. I'm not saying my comedy is the cultural work that their work had, but of the 3 of us, I'm still alive. So, that's kind of something. Has anyone been to the Bronx Zoo in New York? You have, sir? Good job. It's big, isn't it? It's pretty good. That's a weird thing, it's big. Obviously, it's America. But I went to the Bronx Zoo, and the reason I went was because I wanted to steal a monkey, a pelican, and a giraffe, so I could create a live stage version of Roald Dahl's The Giraffe Repelling at Me. 6 Roald Dahl fellas. So So I had my pelican and I had my monkey, and I was on my way to the giraffes. I had to walk by the polar bear enclosure, and there was a huge crowd around it. So I joined the crowd, because you're never too old for peer pressure. And the bear was just sort of splashing a bit and lying in the water and throwing the ball in the air, and it was incredible. It was really cool. I don't know if you can go down a swimming pool in the country and see children doing it, but it'd be irritating. Because a polar bear does it, it's charming. You can apply that logic to any area of life. For example, going to see your cousin's school production of Les Miserables, boring. Going to see a polar bear dream a dream, magical. So that was pretty sick though. So I was watching the polar bear, and this little girl beside me yells out, "I want to see it eat somebody!" I'm not joking, she said that. I don't know what she was hoping for. Like, some guy sees her and is like, "Oh, the world is a sad enough place. I can't let this child be unhappy." Climbs into the polar bear enclosure, provokes the bear by calling it a queer, because polar bears are infamously homophobic, and will fly into a murderous rage if anyone calls them gay. It's probably their one flaw as a species. The bear dives towards the guy, lands at his feet, pulls out a bottle of Coca-Cola, drinks it down, because something people don't know is after years of appearing in Coke's Christmas commercials, they've actually developed an addiction to the stuff. So the guy sort of figures that out. The bear glasses them, of course, because as beautiful a creature as they may be, the way they fight it is far from pretty. At one stage, right, the bear even put the man's clothes on, pranced around in a circle, implying that the man was in fact gay, not the bear. The guy's just yelling, like, "Getting eaten hurts so much!" The girl's crying, "Why is this happening?" The guy responds, like, "This is what you wanted! This is what you wanted your 11-year-old developing mind to see another person get eaten by a bear with old-fashioned beliefs." To which the bear responded, "Rawr!" Some people in the crowd even compared that response to that of a young Oscar Wilde. A comparison that obviously incensed the bear more. It's jail for being gay. The man shouts out his last ounce of strength. He's like, "Why don't polar bears have thumbs? This would be over so much faster if he didn't keep dropping me." And then he died. And the editor's crying, and I'm like, "Well, look, this is your fault. Because of you, an innocent, albeit hypothetical man has died." She looks back up at me and she says, "Well, actually, he's a creation of your imagination, as is this entire scenario, so surely you're to blame." So having my fun ruined by my own subconscious, I decided to go home. I broke the news to the pelican and the monkey, who were, needless to say, gutted. But I did. I released them back on my way home, so their new habitat is the mean streets of the Bronx. Last I heard, the pelican had OD'd and the monkey was in jail for manslaughter, so it's good to hear that they've adapted. I'm going to run away in a second now. Not literally. You've been pretty sweet, thank you. I've worked the flight alone. This is going to be worth it, trust me. One thing I noticed a few things in the States. One of the things I noticed is that there's a type of hairdryer over there called Conair. If you appreciate the works of Nicolas Cage, you'll understand why that's hilarious. But I love if they continue this trend and can name other products after Nicolas Cage movies. For example, Face Off makeup removal wipes, and the Gone in 60 Seconds morning after pill.